Hello and welcome to another episode of the Small YouTuber Podcast. Today I have two guests, which is a first in Small YouTuber Podcast history. We've got EllieMarieTV, who has about 900 subscribers, 100,000 views, and has been making content since 2018. And we have John from the YouTube channel KilicK, who has about 1,500 subscribers and 200,000 views. Welcome both to the Small YouTuber Podcast. Thanks for joining me. And
yeah, good to be here.
How are things with you both? How's lockdown been treating you?
Yeah, lockdown's been pretty good. It's definitely been a time to kind of reflect and see what I want to do and take a little bit of time of where I want to take my YouTube channel and what I want to do with that. So, I've had some time to think about where I want to take my channel, what I want to do. So there's been definitely some like silver lining in lockdown for me, for sure.
Because obviously, John, you're in Vancouver, right? So the rules may have been slightly different than the two of us in the UK.
Early on here, we were doing really good, Canada and stuff. We were kind of maintaining the virus and everything in a kind of healthier way, wasn't spreading as much. But up until recently, it's been getting a little bit worse. So it's getting a little bit more restricted. But now that the vaccine's getting rolled out, and I'm actually able to make my appointment for my vaccine in the next couple of weeks. So that's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you know which vaccine you're getting? Which brand?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Why is there one that's better than the other?
Not necessarily. I mean, I've had my first dose of the dreaded Oxford AstraZeneca one with the blood clot risk or whatever, but I mean, that's been fine.
Yeah, such a small percentage that actually goes wrong.
Minuscule. I don't know why they're making such a fuss about it. I think it's because none of the media outlets have stocks in AstraZeneca, so they can afford to play it down.
Yeah, push it down. Yeah.
Ellie, how about you?
Yeah, things have been going on all right over here. I mean, when we first kind of locked down here in the UK is when I really sort of went full on with the YouTube, because I was furloughed, so it was literally like there's nothing else I can do, so I'll just make loads of YouTube videos and been carrying it on. So it's not been too bad.
Yeah, we had a guest, our previous guest, Jack. He'd been furloughed as well, and he was focusing on his channel, and he was like, yeah, it's like getting paid to do YouTube sort of indirectly, because you're not working but you're getting paid essentially to make YouTube videos, which is pretty cool. So the reason that we are all three together is because we've all signed up. We've paid the $200 for Airac's Creator Now program, which is a 6-week course. I'm going to make a whole video about this actually at the end of the 6 weeks, so look out for that. But so what, for both of you, why did you sign up for Creator Now, and what the $200? It's a big investment. What did you think that you would get out of it?
I'm just kind of in the mindset now that I'm not gonna stop until I get somewhere on YouTube. I think a lot of people kind of come on this platform thinking they'll post one video and blow up overnight, but I mean, if you think of anything in life, like people that, I know it's a lot different, but if you want to become like a doctor or a lawyer, you've got to study for God knows how many years, and then you finally get a chance to actually like start doing stuff. So it is definitely like a long game, I think, YouTube, and being able to like learn all the skills. Like I could go to university now and spend 3 years, studying film, which is great, but I think I spoke a lot. I almost went to university, and I spoke a lot to the tutor there, who said basically if you're wanting to go into like the digital space, the traditional film course isn't really designed to set you up for that. It's very much for the BBC, ITV, kind of like the Hollywood industry. And I think paying $200, even though it's a lot for a 6-week course, if you were going to sort of compare that to university fees, it's £3,000 for a term in university. So we're actually getting a bargain for the advice and skills that we're being taught. So that's the main reason I did it.
It's not quite the same, the length or the intensity as a university degree, but it's still value for money. I think it's definitely it's definitely up there. And also I saw that Arak commented on your video that you made about getting him to a million subscribers. So
yeah.
you've got that connection there with the man himself.
To be fair, we worked like really hard on that video, so it was so rewarding to see him like commenting on it. Like, I was editing on Christmas Day just to get it up to make sure that he saw it before he like came off the island. So I was really happy to see that. It was a payoff, definitely. So.
And John, what inspired you to join the program and shell out the 200 big ones?
For me, it was the accountability of posting a video every week. I really like that. I really like that kind of idea behind it. What I was doing with my channel before, I was kind of making videos, but I would kind of overcraft them, or I would spend so much time building them. And that discipline to post a video every week and to take everything I know and to just kind of solidify it down into one little video in 1 week and have to cut so much stuff out or decide this and that. I feel like it's exactly what I needed. I always felt like, oh, if I just spend a lot of time and I make a really good video, it could go viral. But what I didn't realize is that what I actually needed was this repetitive craft of continuously building my videos and reiterating that way. Because I really feel like if you want to make a long video, you have to really, really understand how to make a short video and how to make consistent videos. Because if you're making a really long video, you don't understand these fundamentals, then you're kind of just not really making a good use of your time. So just that fact of that, like, we're making a video every week, and then the extra that I've been getting from this program that is way more than $200 is all the advice I've been getting. It's just crazy. You know, I've done, you know, Daryl Eves kind of YouTube formula and like all these different little things, and I'm still learning stuff from them. Like the Logan Paul's editor, how he was talking about the entry points into your thumbnail was like mind blowing for me. That was so valuable. And then just all the other things about how you're like formulating and kind of putting your video together and everything like that. Like, I'm just constantly learning new things and constantly blown away. And it's really helped me think about how I want to make my videos. And I've always thought, because I do have a little bit of a film background and just that whole kind of classical kind of filmmaking. And, you know, I always thought that I would take filmmaking, I would take screenwriting, and I would adapt it to YouTube. What I'm realizing now is that those mediums are going to be taking YouTube and adapting it to them. You know, I feel like film and everything is going to become more like YouTube versus the other way around. So I'm very happy in this kind of position and learning that YouTube is kind of, it's its own thing. You know, you have to learn it. It's its own thing. And other people are going to kind of, I think they're going to follow suit, because it's all about optimization. It's all about making content as enjoyable as possible and distilling it down to like its core elements. So it's such a good practice in creativity and everything like that. And the program is just such a perfect fit for that, with like the right people inside. So
yeah, practice does make perfect. So having, you know, forcing yourself to do that one video a week is just invaluable as far as YouTube goes. And as you say, the workshops, Hayden Hillier-Smith, who is Logan Paul's editor, as you said, is just an absolute, he's on a whole new level. He's so incredibly talented at this sort of thing. So every word that comes out of his mouth is just a gold mine. So I thought that masterclass that he delivered was excellent, and I think he's got another one. Is that right? He's got more than one session. I think
him and Mac are doing another one as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
The community as well, I think, is one of the greatest things about the course. Literally just being able to jump in a chat room and ask people, is this a good idea or not? What should my thumbnail be? It's just great to get all the feedback from hundreds of people.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing that. You've probably seen. I mean, I've seen you do it, but I've been doing that a lot with all of my thumbnails, and I didn't expect that to be really part of it of the course. That wasn't one of the big selling points that they advertised. But yeah, like the advice from each other about thumbnails, not just my own thumbnails, but like looking at other people's thumbnails and going, well, what would make that better? What would make that more clickable? And then you can sort of take that advice and apply it to your own thumbnails. It's really useful, and I think everybody's thumbnails are improving as the weeks go by, and it's really cool to see. So yeah, definitely, as you say, the community aspect of it is something that I didn't think I would use very much, but it's really active. And the fact that Arak and Mac themselves are so active on the community is great.
I feel like I've learned more from telling other people how to improve their thumbnails than I have just like posting how can I improve mine, because you just start thinking about it more from kind of like an outside perspective.
Yeah, and if there's a thumbnail that's like, well, there's something not quite right about that, but what is it? And then when you're making your own thumbnail, you're like, yes, I want to avoid, leaving that big empty space, or, oh yeah, I think I should make that a little bit bigger. It's excellent. I mean, the very first week, I think maybe the first day, there was a thumbnail that I posted, and Eric gave me advice himself, which I was like, wow, this is great.
Awesome. Yeah.
So the fact that they're so invested in it, and they're so interested in actually helping people, that's why they started the course in the first place. It's fantastic. And I think us being sort of the pilot group, that we'll probably get sort of special preferential treatment in a way, because we're the guinea pigs. What do you think has been the most valuable? If you had to single out one part, would it be the thumbnail advice? Would it be the workshops? What would be the most, value for money as far as the Creator Now is so far?
There's been so many things, it's hard to pick, but for me personally, it's been the posting a video every week. And I know it sounds kind of like a simple thing, like just post a video every week, but I spent so much time learning all the other things and the algorithm and all of that. I spent the last 6 months kind of just working on all of that, and just as kind of breaking this mold of like, I need to post a video every week, no matter what, I have to get it out. It's just been so exactly what I needed, because I'm very much like a tinkerer, where I will just sit there and just kind of like mold this wholly perfect thing, and raise it from the ashes and get 5 million views. And I just have that mentality. So getting the video out, whether it's done or not, or just kind of just compressing it into that, has just been so useful. And YouTube really is a game about consistency. So just kind of really understanding that and bringing it all together, that's been the best. It's been really good. And developing those habits and those kind of, making a video every week, and it's kind of getting a little bit easier, I feel like. And I feel like it will just keep getting easier as you kind of pump these out. So that for me has been the best. And seeing all the other people doing it too, and motivating, and the community that kind of ties into that kind of idea.
I was looking at your channel, and I mean, you posted a few videos over the past few years, but I mean, I think you've only got 11 public videos. So this is a fairly, this consistency is fairly new. Have you seen a great deal of success? Have these videos that we've been doing weekly so far, I mean, we're only in week 3 right now, but have they been performing well? Have they been well received?
Yeah, so my latest video has been pretty well received. I'd say it's been doing the best out of every video I've posted so far in the early stages, which is really good. But aside from that, it's kind of even just like letting go of the success of how the video is going to do, just kind of falling in love with the craft of like just sitting there and making the videos, because actually making the videos is really fun, whether it gets a lot of views or if it doesn't get any views. But yeah, like you said, like, I really only have a couple videos. I only have like 7 videos on my channel, and some of them go back like 5-6 years ago when I was doing professional gaming. And I just wasn't used to posting YouTube videos. I would just sit at my computer and just, play games for 12 hours a day and just stream. This whole thing about, posting regular content and stuff, like, it just was never, it's a whole different kind of way of thinking about things for me. But I don't know. I think my latest video, I'm really proud of it. I'm really happy with how it came out. And I don't see a quality difference in my latest video that took 1 week to make, and my other videos that some of them even took like a month or 2 to make. It's like, I'm getting like the same thing. So obviously there's something that I'm not, there's a lot of wasted time there, it feels like. So yeah, it's really good.
It's like a curve. So you've got the top 90% of getting the video to that, a pretty standard level, and then you can spend so much longer and just make minimal
exactly
progress. So you've got to
editing.
Knowing when to stop is a skill, really. Just in life in general, I think.
And now with the program, you don't need to know. You just have to post it by then.
Saturday evening, that cutoff point. Ellie, what would you say is the most valuable part of Creator Now for you so far?
Like John said, there's so many different things, but I think the most valuable thing that I've learned over mainly the last week really is learning what type of content I actually want to make. I think one of the most valuable workshops, like, all of them have been incredible, and I'm very obsessed with like editing, so it's been great to like hear from Hayden and Matt. I don't know if you guys went to it, the workshop with Zach on Saturday.
No,
I
I
mean,
need
he
to
was
catch up
talking.
on that one.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
he was talking a lot about like what your goal is, what your overall goal is with YouTube, and where you want, like, how to get there. And I think I just kind of realized that a lot of the videos, not all of them, but a lot of videos I have made have not necessarily, some of them I haven't enjoyed making. I've just kind of made them thinking it might blow up. And I think I need to start, well, I am starting to kind of like focus more on what the kind of like 5-year plan is with my content, rather than like, where do I want to be in 5 years, and then working back to what can I be doing now to get there, rather than, because there's some videos where, say if I like had 1 million subscribers tomorrow, there's a lot of videos on my channel which I wouldn't want to carry on making. So I think for the remainder of the course, I'm going to focus on really kind of just making videos that I'm going to like genuinely enjoy. So I think that's probably the like biggest thing I've learned from this so far. And it's crazy that it's only 2 weeks in. It feels like we've been doing this for like months.
Yeah.
And we're only a third of the way through the course. So I'm really excited to see like what else is to come.
Yeah, and you mentioned there your sort of 5-year plan. If you don't mind delving into that, what is your 5-year plan? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I always want to be creating content. I don't want to necessarily put like a number or a metric on what. So I don't want to be like, I want 10 million subscribers, but I want a loyal audience, and I want to grow it as big as possible and have an impact on people's lives through entertainment, through inspiration, motivation, which I think a lot of my content has been centered around just trying to make people laugh. Whereas I feel like I'm kind of missing that motivational, inspirational kind of side of it. So I think that's what I'm going to be focusing a lot more on. But in terms of like where I actually want to be, I mean, I'm very business minded. So I'd like to maybe open up a couple of businesses. I want to kind of make EllieMarieTV into a production company. So like YouTube is one strand of it. And then I make kind of like music videos and maybe like some Netflix shows. And then I also want to open up like loads of charities as well. So I feel like that's more of a 10-year plan than a 5-year plan, but
That's awesome.
I'm just focusing on the YouTube at the moment. And
You can't fault your ambition. And I mean, I think
Yeah.
with the trajectory you're on right now, I think you could well be on your way. Because I mean, I think you've been growing pretty well. I think your video that you did last week, the Sidemen sort of parody one,
yeah,
immediately just skyrocketed up to 1,000
yeah,
views, didn't it?
yeah,
So that was incredible.
That's awesome.
I saw that you
that was
posted it on the
crazy.
Geneva, and I was like, how has it already got like 400 views? You just posted
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to focus on for this week's video, because Mac's workshop was very much about retention and editing for retention, which is something I've struggled with, because that video kind of skyrocketed to 1,000 views, but a lot of people the retention wasn't great on it, because I didn't really make it engaging enough. Whereas I think that video idea, if I'd made that if I'd kept the pacing up on it, and it was obviously a lot more engaging and the retention was higher, I think that could have like blown up. So I think I need to focus on the retention this week, and then trying to, for the last half of the course, get both right, the retention and the video idea. So
yeah, I think there's one thing that I saw Hayden Hillier-Smith say in a workshop that was he phrases it, kill your darlings, which is if there's a shot that you really like but it doesn't really contribute much to the overall story, and it's just like, oh, it's a pretty shot, but it doesn't actually help, and it's just adding 5 seconds to the video that's going to make people click off, just kill it. It's not needed. And I think it's always sort of in the back of my mind as I'm editing, I'm like, is this necessary to the overall story, or can this go to help retention? So yeah, there's a lot of things that have been said in these workshops that have stuck with me. And I think the fact that people have been posting their entire like notes list on the Geneva community have been really useful, because you're like, oh yeah, that's what he said. People are getting really engaged, and it's fantastic. Actually, speaking of Geneva, how are your teams? Because we've been allocated teams on Geneva, and I'm team 27, and we're doing fairly well. I've got 2 team members who haven't actually signed up yet on Creator Now, which isn't great. Everybody else is fine and lovely, and we are checking out each other's videos. How are your teams doing?
Yeah, my team's doing good, pretty good. We're team 2, so almost there at the front. We have one of our members got kind of sick, and he hasn't posted a video yet. But aside from that, which it obviously sucks. And, you know, like if you're sick or anything like that, like just the program, go take care of your health and all that. It's more important. But aside from that, people have been posting regularly, feels like, and there's a little bit of discussion back and forth, kind of helping each other out. And I'll have like a little check-in every now and then, see where everyone's at. Definitely do want to increase the discussion a little bit more. I think that we could kind of maybe hop into the team. There's a team voice chat as well. It'd be nice to kind of get to know the team a little bit more. So I think I might make a little bit of like a push towards that and kind of get to know everyone a little bit more, a little bit of a little deeper level, and toss some ideas back, because it's a little bit easier in a little more controlled, kind of smaller environment to kind of build a little bit of a better connection. So there's that opportunity. But I love the whole idea of teams. I love that. The little competitive aspect. I'm a very competitive person, so this is very kind of good for me to push the content out and collaborate and stuff with people. So yeah.
We've not used the voice chat thing either, and I think it's partly due to the time zone issues, because you know, we've got people all over the world, and it doesn't always line up. Like there was a
right, you have to schedule it in, right?
Yeah, there was a Creator Now rock paper scissors tournament last night, I think, which looked great, but it was at like 1 a.m. UK time. I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah,
It's the same with the workshops. I'm sure you found this, Ellie, but you know, the workshop with Hayden and Mac and stuff, they start at midnight. So it's really hard to actually attend live, which sucks, but it's good that they record them.
Eric's roast as well. The other day, I joined that one and it went till 2 a.m. and I was literally falling asleep by the end of it.
How's your team, Ellie? How have you been connecting with those guys?
Our team's been slacking a bit this week. I mean, 4 of our members haven't posted. We have like an Instagram group, but half of them haven't really been very talkative, so they're not actually, like, we've been trying to reach them and ask them if they want to be in the group, but they're not really responding. So there's about half of us in this Instagram group, and they're all really active, and like we talk every day in the Instagram group, and there's a couple of like Brazilian guys that we're talking about collabing and them coming over to England. So it's been great, but there are like I'd say I'm closer with the other members of my group than my actual buddy, because he joined very late, like signing up, and he's also not been posting, and I've been messaging him and he's not really been replying. So
that's the
I hope
same
he's
with me
okay.
too.
But I like our team, but they need to make sure they're all posting. I try to reach out and message everyone, but I don't know what people have going on, so it could be any reason why they haven't posted. But
well, for the first, I think maybe even still, like my buddy is one of the people who didn't actually sign up, so I have nobody to hold me accountable for things, which isn't great.
You never know.
You're a free man.
I know.
Yeah. You never know. Your buddy could be Mr. Beast. I haven't seen him in any of the teams yet, and apparently he signed up for the course. So
he's probably harvesting information about the course in the shadows.
I think possibly, I think Eric might have just like fabricated that to get people to sign up. Because that would have been a very tactical tactic. To do that.
That'd be funny.
And could you imagine the scoreboard? His team would like instantly be first place. It'd probably break the Creator Now website. His like numbers that he's pulling in. Yeah,
some of the people, especially if you're like a smaller channel and you get a video blow up, you get like 1,000,000% viewership increase. It's like, okay.
Well, I see Eric himself is at the top of most of the global leaderboards, I think, which is a big boost for team number 1, which he's in. So
I think their team is probably going to win.
And you get them in your group chat too, so that's nice.
I think it's all very like experimental though, isn't it? I don't think they fully know what they're doing yet, and it's great to just be a part of it and see them kind of go through the trial and error phases to see what works, because they kind of made like a women's group in I don't know how you say it, Geneva or Gnava. I call it different things, but
Geneva.
Geneva. They made a women's group, and a lot of them have been saying like they kind of make longer form content. So they've been taking a lot of the advice, but they're kind of like sort of short, fast edits, cut out all kind of like breathing room in the videos to just make sure it's all kind of compiled together to keep retention. It doesn't exactly work for people that maybe make a half-hour video just talking. Which like one of the girls has got like 100,000 subscribers. Like she's quite a big
Nice.
she's quite a big channel, and she joined, but she said she struggled because obviously some of the advice she can't really use on her channel. But I think it's just trial and error, isn't it? I think it would be great for round 2. I'll probably he's been asking for advice, but I think round 2 they should bring kind of a more diverse group of creators to help in the workshops, like maybe some podcasters and things like that to really kind of
because they are like they kind of focus on their side. And I remember that they didn't really have much to comment on for like kind of sketch comedy YouTube channels and stuff too. So getting that perspective would be great.
And they've somewhat accommodated. They've made a YouTube Shorts section on Geneva, and they've made an educational channels section on Geneva. But I mean, there's so many different niches that are being explored, and there's so many different types of channels. Like there's people in my group who focus on kids content, and I'm like, great, I don't know anything about kids content or how to make it. So it's difficult to give advice because you're like, I don't really understand the target audience that you're getting at, so I can't help you. They have been very open to advice though. They've made that tech support and questions and feedback channels, so they're very open to listening to people's advice, which is fantastic because you don't always get that.
I think that's the great thing. They've literally just held their hands up and been like, we're not 100% sure what we're doing. We're going to try our best. Tell us what we're doing wrong. I think that's great.
That's one thing I've noticed from Eric and Mac is like they have that same drive and mentality that like even like the smallest YouTuber has. They still have that mentality where they want to keep growing and just keep harvesting information and keep learning and iterating. And I feel like as long as you can hold on to that, that's going to really serve you well. Sticking
with you, John, how did you first come across Eric? What was the first video you saw of him, if you can remember?
Yeah, I think it was something related to like Logan Paul or something, or rather like tied into that. And the fact that I don't remember means that YouTube probably like shoved it in my face and it was like, watch this.
Yeah, mine was Logan Paul's couches. I bought Logan Paul's couches.
Yeah.
I found him through a different route. He kept popping up everywhere I looked on YouTube. I was like, who is this guy? Because I think I first heard of him when he was on Colin and Samir's podcast. And I was like, this guy sounds pretty interesting. And then I'm subscribed to Hayden Hillier-Smith's channel, and he did like a roast of Eric and Mac's videos. And they were like, oh, you're so right. That. Yeah. And I was like, well, these guys are popping up on every single channel. Like, who are they? And then I think finally I caved in and I started watching his videos. I was like, wow, these are really high quality. And then I figured out that, oh, wow, he was at 0 subscribers a year ago. How?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Everybody finds him different ways. But yeah, I think the Logan Paul stuff really boosted him into the viewership of masses.
Yeah, it's something to say to that too, is that like between us three, we've found him through like a Logan Paul or through Hayden Hillier-Smith or something like that. So again, it just feels like that definitely is something worth looking into if you want to if your content is good and it's you're feeling like it's getting really good, try to find those connections, find those audiences and stuff. Feels like there's potential there.
Yeah, the power of collaboration should not be underplayed. It can hugely help.
I actually had a crazy idea. If someone can see it, well, it's a bit past it now. COVID didn't allow it, and I also didn't have the money to do it. But do you remember when Logan was like unsure whether he'd be fighting Floyd? It like kept getting delayed. I came up with an idea to fly all the way to Puerto Rico, hunt him down, and give him a fight contract to try and sign it. But I thought, I'm not legally allowed to leave the UK, and also I don't have the money to spend on trying to find Logan Paul.
Yeah, those are two fairly major hurdles.
Yeah.
It's a great idea, and if you'd pulled it off, that would have just been, insane. Other than Eric, who are some other creators that you particularly look up to? Sticking with you, Ellie.
True Geordie. Have you seen his podcasts? I love his podcasts. I used to love Joe Weller back when he did his skits and stuff. He does do a podcast now that I watch, but he doesn't really post much anymore. I used to like Syndicate's vlogs. I don't know if he's still doing them now. I kind of like long form. I watch a lot of like podcasts and stuff. Like pretty much every YouTuber podcast, like Colin and Samir, Impulsive.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn from podcasts. What about you, John? Who are your your creators that you look up to?
There's so many. Mr. Beast is crazy, first of all. Peter McKinnon originally. Casey Neistat is a big one for me, and just a little bit like, I love Peter McKinnon and the B-roll and all of that kind of stuff, but I feel like people are starting to understand how to do B-roll now, and you can kind of, get it done in the movements. But so I'll go and I'll watch sometimes a little bit older Peter McKinnon content. I'll be like, oh, like this is as interesting as it was when I watched it. But then I'll watch a Casey Neistat like 10 years ago, and I'm like, wow, this is still so good because of that, like that story aspect in there that he's so good at. So he really inspires me because he has this timeless content that you can just come back to it and watch it, and it's still, he understood these like core fundamentals, which is just awesome. So Casey's is a big inspiration for me. And just a lot of different gaming channels and stuff like that, because that is my background. So
those two, as you mentioned, are big inspirations of mine. And I mean, you're sort of a you like the kit aspect, and you make videos about lenses and stuff. So I if I'd been able to put money on it, I would have said Peter McKinnon. I bet he's up there on your list, because he's definitely up there on mine as well. Like I watch every video he makes and learn so much.
One thing that I want to do with my channel, and I just think about this idea of like, when I first found Peter McKinnon, I almost felt like I was like getting like hacks to video editing. Like I just gobbled up his content. I was like, wow, like this feels like cheating almost. Like this is so good, and that feeling that I had is like what caused me to binge his videos, and which I think just skyrocketed him and his personality and everything like that. So like ideally, like I want to create that feeling for other people, where you come in and you're like, wow, this feels like cheating, like this is awesome. Like I found this little YouTuber, like I don't even want to tell anyone about him. I don't want to send any links. Like this is so good. I need it just for myself. So if I can capture that feeling that Peter McKinnon, created in me and Casey Neistat and stuff, that would be awesome.
It's hard to get that sort of that special sauce, but those who can achieve it, which I'm sure you could easily be able to.
Maybe one day.
It can really make you just skyrocket, as you say. In the UK, I don't know if you've heard of him, Ellie. Max Fosh is probably my top.
Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
I watched him too.
Oh yeah, cool. He recently ran for London Mayor, and it was just what a series! What a series!
Yeah. That was great.
I've heard of him. Have you heard of Nico? I can't say his last name.
Nico. Nico Amalano.
Nico. Yeah. Some of his videos. The one where he like opened up a fake McDonald's. That was great.
Yeah. Well, as a McDonald's employee, I bet you found that pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
One of the creators in our group actually went driving around the same McDonald's until the milkshake machine broke.
Nice. That old chestnut, the broken machine at McDonald's.
Yeah, ours is constantly. I said to him, if you came, because it took him like the whole day till it broke. I said, if you came around ours, you wouldn't even be able to get one milkshake because it's always broken. So. But the other YouTuber I meant to say that I forgot about, she's just hit 100,000. She's grown really fast this year, but her name is Emily D. Baker. She's like a lawyer who's like retired and come to YouTube, and she basically gives all, how there's drama channels that kind of cover all the YouTube drama. She does it in a way that's like very factual, covers all the lawsuits, covers like the James Charles, the David Dobrik stuff, and like says factually like whether this stuff is illegal, what would happen in a court of law. And I think it's just a really refreshing kind of channel to just get a breakdown of what's going on, but not with the kind of like over dramatic everyone's getting cancelled. She kind of does it very like professionally.
It's an interesting slant on things, because I mean, I can't stand someone like Keemstar who just sensationalizes everything. But that's sort of that very matter-of-fact way of looking at things from a professional or an ex-professional standpoint. That's I hadn't considered that concept, but I'm sure it's absolutely brilliant content. So I have to check that one out myself. Going back to how we found Arak, Ellie, you and I have encountered each other before, because you made a video where you impersonated me. I wanted to delve a little bit further into
I need a link for that video later.
I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot about that for a minute. I forgot that's how we because I remember I found, I don't know if you know of there's a app, I can't remember the name of it, but you can basically search across all of YouTube for channels. Like you put in the size of the channel, the kind of whether it's a comedy, gaming, and what area. So I put like UK under like so many thousand and entertainment based, and I just started like messaging around loads of creators because I wanted to kind of like reach out to people and just talk to other YouTubers and stuff.
To do lots of filter content like that is really, yeah, that's, you have to find that app and send that to.
Yeah, I'll send you
Yeah.
the link.
I know that Social Blade has sort of a slightly similar thing, but you can't really add too many filters to it. But it sort of analyzes your channel, and then it lists sort of similar size channels who are growing at the same rate under the same content
I think it's called
style as yours.
YouTube channel crawler. I think that's what it's called.
Okay. I shall write that one down.
Yeah, I want to
but
find people in
pretty good.
my area too. It'd be cool, like other YouTubers that are kind of on the same journey that you can actually like go meet and stuff.
Yeah, I'm surprised that that's not talked about more, because that seems like a really powerful thing to network with other channels.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult to sift through just because there's a lot of channels that kind of just random accounts that have been made, but you can actually put on the channel crawler when they last uploaded. So I always put like they have to have uploaded within the last month to come up, because a lot of people obviously just make like YouTube channels and never post anything. But
also networking, how did you find that your success on TikTok affected the growth of your channel? Because you did a whole video on getting 100,000 TikTok views in a week. Did you find that anybody came over to your channel and viewed it from there, or was it completely polar opposites?
There's probably a way I can like actually check how many people have clicked on the TikTok link to my channel. I've been experimenting a lot with TikTok, and I found that the more kind of crazy and weird you are on TikTok, the more there's a lot of hate and abuse on TikTok, and it makes people comment more on your videos, and then it pushes it to more people. So I started like a series called Ketchup Girl, where I was literally eating like the strangest of foods with ketchup, and it literally blew up. I think I'm on like 10,000 followers now, but one of my videos I made like a steak and like just covered it in ketchup and gave it to my dad, and Gordon Ramsay duetted the video.
No way.
Of my dad eating the steak. So when that happened, that's when like my followers started like growing loads on TikTok, and I did notice my YouTube subscribers were going up a lot. So yeah, it's definitely helped. I mean, it's not like I've gained thousands and thousands of subscribers overnight, but like 10 to 50 extra subscribers from like posting TikTok videos is like it's a nice little
bad
boost.
at all.
Yeah, and you're growing your TikTok on its own anyway, so
awesome. To have Gordon Ramsay duet is quite something to put on the old CV. That's amazing. How about you, John?
How
have you found growing your channel and different aspects that you've chosen?
Yeah, so I had one video that kind of popped off and got 20,000 views, and that netted me about 650 subscribers from just that one video.
Wow.
So I see the power in making a good video that people like. So yeah, aside from that, I haven't really been using other platforms as much. I do kind of want to get into TikTok, but maybe more from like a tutorial standpoint, give a little like quick tutorials or something like that. I'm not sure. But yeah, I had one video do well, and that was just, I didn't even post it anywhere. The algorithm just blessed me and just took me away to the promised land, and just got me a lot of views, and got me a lot of subs from that. So if I can kind of capture that and make similar content like that, I feel like there's a path forward. If I get 600 subscribers every video, that would be a step in the right direction.
Yeah, similar with my most viewed video is one I made back in 2015, which was mini bowling trick shots, which I hate the video. It would have been deleted a long time ago if it had gotten a fewer views. But it sort of broke all the rules, because like Mac in his workshop recently was saying like, oh, it's all about, the biggest retention possible. You need to make longer-ish form content so people can stay for a long period of time, watch more adverts. High click-through rate is absolutely key. But this video had none of that. It's 2 minutes long, so the average view duration is really short. Click-through rate, not perfect. But for whatever reason, YouTube decided to just push it on the suggested feeds of hundreds of thousands of people. And it got, I mean, in its first month, it got maybe 100 views. It was really just bog standard. But then somehow it just started picking up. It was getting 1,000 views a day for like 3 months straight. It was crazy. and
Wow.
I have no explanation for it. I cannot. I've looked at all the analytics so many times. And I'm like, how how has this worked? So there's a huge element of luck in it. I mean, you can study all the books, you can go to all the workshops, and you can sort of engineer your own luck in a way by, you know, cheating the system and getting really clickable thumbnails and titles, etc. But there is even still a huge element of luck, what I've found, and I assume it's roughly the same with you.
Well, also too, you know, I'm sure the algorithm and everything was a little bit different as well, like back then. So maybe they were looking at different aspects or whatnot. But
that's a good point.
Yeah, you know, every video I put out, it's like 10, 50 views, 100 views, but I'm like, you know, you could go far still. Like, I'm gonna leave you for like a month or two, and you know, maybe you'll blow up. So it's really kind of just leaving a video out and just posting it and forgetting about it, because you're not going to get that instant feedback where, like, when I would stream, I would know, okay, this was a good stream. People liked it. They're typing in my chat. They're saying like, this is awesome. But for YouTube, it's like, just set it and forget it. It's kind of hard to do that. But after you get used to that, then any of your videos can really blow up, even if it gets 5 views in the first couple of days.
Yeah, delayed gratification almost. It's a slow burn. Go
ahead.
I had that recently with I did when Mr. Beast started Mr. Beast Burgers. We didn't have it here in the UK, so I made a video basically opening up my own Mr. Beast burgers and like delivering them around to random people's houses. And when it came to the UK, because he's recently launched some stores in London, my video like gained like 3,000 views out of nowhere, because obviously like people were searching for it. So
yeah, you're in the right place, right time.
That's
awesome. Literally, like any video from like months ago, I've had it with like a couple of videos like they've just kind of been stagnant on the channel, and then something happens that just all of a sudden kicks a bit of an algorithm, and the video gains quite a few views. So
that's smart. If you can kind of like predict where trends will go and kind of just put some videos in ahead of time, like ready to kind of like take some of that viewership, would be a good idea.
Yeah, again, that's sort of trying to predict the future and engineer your own success. It's very difficult, and it's very, you know, the chances of failure are huge, but there's the odd time that you can actually make it work. I mean, as you
just
say,
need one.
What would either of you say is the most challenging part of making YouTube videos that the average viewer wouldn't appreciate? In my opinion, it's probably the editing, because people have no idea how much time people put into it, the edit. Like Mac was saying, you spend like 3 straight days without sleep working on an average Airrack video. So I think people have no idea how long that takes. But is there anything else that people potentially don't appreciate?
I'd say maybe like the planning and logistics of it, because like the first submission I did for this course, the like Sidemen parody, I was like Max said, it was 3 days straight of just like no sleep editing. Like there was one day where I did like 17 hours straight just behind my computer to make sure I got it out in time. But like the actual setting up of that video, because obviously I just made like a fake Tinder account and message around loads of like random people saying, do you want to be in a YouTube video where you have to basically go on a date with my mate, and it's going to be like kind of like Impractical Joker style, where the date's getting controlled through an earpiece. But literally the day of the shoot, a few people dropped out, and it was about to fall through. So I just went back on Tinder and started messaging around loads of people, and luckily there was like 2 people that were like, yeah, I can come. It was literally 2 hours before, and they're like, yeah, I'll come, I'll do it, because they like live right next to the studio. So I think there's tons of stuff that people just like never see. Like even my mates that help me in the videos, they'll go out and film. Like I did like an I'm a Celebrity parody, and I had to run up the mountain we went on to do the challenges 3 times because someone had dropped out, so I didn't have the extra person to plant the clues. So I had to like keep running up and down this mountain to get all the clues planted, whilst kind of following them and making sure they were on the right path. So, and then it's like the shoot takes ages, and then like you say as well, the edit is just another monster in itself.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the planning and logistics, especially for a video as complicated as that, we've sort of got to set clues, because you know the average gaming video or something potentially doesn't have as much planning involved in it. Obviously there are exceptions.
I feel like the YouTube videos that feel the most natural and authentic are oftentimes the ones that have the most effort put into, where
Yeah.
it's like, you know, these people will put in, you know, you'll do 10 takes just to get one that like feels authentic and feels genuine and like feels like how you want to like portray the message out. You'll go and you'll, you know, record things for hours and hours. Like they put in, that's a big thing for me. Just as you kind of get into this space, you realize how hard everyone is working, how hard Logan Paul is working, how hard Eric and Mac, and it is just, it's not like, it can't be understated that like, you know, they're grinding 8-10 hours a day every single day, making these videos, making this content, doing retakes, doing reshoots. You know, Mr. Beast will scrap a whole video if he doesn't like it, you know, and they're working so incredibly hard. And it's, at the end of the day, what you see is something that feels like, oh, like, you know, like I could do that, or that's not that difficult, or oh, he's just like sitting and just like reacting to a video. But it's like, how many videos are they watching? And Mr. Beast probably has like a whole team of people that are like finding these videos. What's the best video? How's it going to fit in? You know, how are they going to structure it? What clips are they going to show first? And all this thing, you know, it's like this, you know, like if you want to get up to that kind of crazy level, like they're thinking about all these things. And it's like these videos where you'll see someone and they're just talking to the camera, and it's kind of just this natural thing. Like these people are like some of the smartest people society has to offer. You know, they are literal geniuses. And the fact that they are getting these millions of views is a testament to how smart they are and how they can take that and build a business, but still kind of relate to the audience and feel like they're a person and feel like you can connect with them and kind of build a kind of like a relationship with them. So yeah, I just so much respect, really, especially doing this. Is like doctors and everything are getting all the respect, but I'm like, YouTubers are working just as hard and, you know, even harder. So yeah,
it's
Mr.
possibly
Beast is on another level.
It's possibly why so many young people nowadays are like, oh, I want to be YouTubers, because they get the impression that, you know, it's just dead easy career and then you make loads of money and it's just effortless, that you literally just set up a camera and start going and everybody starts flocking to your channel. But there's so much more to it than that, and the ability to make it appear effortless, but there's actually so much behind the scene, is a huge skill.
And you're everything, right? Too, like you're the screenwriter, you're the videographer, you're the director, you're the producer. You know, you're everything, and you have to know how to do everything pretty well, depending on what you're doing. You know, I started with the cinematography and I was like, that was really important. And I realized I worked backwards. I learned all the gear and all that stuff first. And I'm like, oh, that's actually not like, it has a little bit of an impact, but it's not as important as the other side of it. But you have to know a little bit of everything.
Yeah. And speaking of gear, you recently made a video about, you know, this what was it, Sigma lens or a Sony lens?
Yeah, Sony lens 35.
If you had to choose 3 lenses to take through your entire life, what would those 3 lenses be?
Yeah, I've bought so many lenses that I have a great answer. It would be, I have a 12-24 zoom lens, f2.8. I have a 24-70 f2.8 and just a 70-200 2.8. Just it's like a little bit different from the 16-35, but all the way to 200. Yeah, you don't need anything else. You don't need the 1.4, all that kind of stuff. Like it blows the background out and you can't get anything in focus anyway. And especially if you're kind of making more authentic, naturalistic content, you do want that. This is getting a little bit nerdy now, but you want that kind of, you don't want your background completely blown out. People are gonna feel like they're watching like a movie or something. And something I realized is like, if you're trying to make cinematic content, you're trying to make like movie content, now you're competing with Hollywood, you know, and like your content is now compared to billion-dollar budgets. Like, I don't know, you want to be playing in that realm, you know? So if you can kind of like keep it with YouTube and keep it in that stage, then you're competing with YouTube and other people that are individuals like making content. So for what I want to do, 12-200 and that zoom range and just being able to reframe my shot really easily and all of that, and big believer in that now. And kind of had to buy a lot of different lenses and gear to kind of realize that, but it's where I've come to.
Are there 3 lenses that you would choose, Ellie, or 3 pieces of gear that you couldn't live without?
I've been using my Nikon DSLR D3 to 100,000 for like 4 or 5 years now. I should really get a new camera because it's getting to the point where the lens is like sticking and crunching and stuff. But
Oh,
I love it a lot. And it's just always
Yeah.
been my camera that I've been using. Plus, camera's a lot of money. But yeah, I'd definitely say my Nikon, my GoPro, because it's great for just like action shots. Probably I say recently, last year, because I'd saved to kind of go traveling and then coronavirus hit, I got a MacBook instead. So
all
I
right.
definitely say that I was using like this really, really old computer to do my initial YouTube videos, and it would take me like a month to edit one. And since getting the Mac, it's literally like a few days, and it's great. So I definitely could not live without that.
Well, I'd say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it sounds like your camera's getting to the point where it is broke.
It's getting there.
But yeah, I mean, if it does the job, there's no point in no real reason to replace it. And if if you've got the option of spending £1,000 on making 2 or 3 really good videos with substantial budgets behind them that could take off, or spending £1,000 on a camera that it'll make videos a little bit higher quality, is it really worth it?
I don't think
people
so.
don't really care about the quality on YouTube. I don't feel, as long as they can hear you and see you clearly, it's not really.
Big emphasis on audio too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember I saw Casey Neistat interviewed Mr. Beast one time, and something that really stuck out for me in that interview is that Mr. Beast, I think, said he got 200,000 subscribers, and the only piece of gear he had to film and edit, well, maybe not edit, but to film and record everything on, was his iPhone 5. And I was like, 200,000? That's insane. So it just proves that you don't need the gear. You just need really good ideas that you can execute well.
I come from a film background. I did commercial videography and everything like that. I can come into YouTube. I have sick gear, and I've just like learned the hard way. I just get slapped in the face, like back and forth. Like, no one cares about that, man. Like, if you want to do tutorials and stuff like that, obviously it's good to have a good picture. But even then, your personality, how you connect with the audience, your story, time and time again. And I'm a big testament. Like, throwing money at your video quality and stuff, not do anything, because you can throw money at it and make it good quality, but it still needs that. So now you're doing like 10 times more effort, because now your video has to be good, but your story still needs to be just as amazing.
Yeah. Having watched your videos, your video quality is fantastic. But
thank you.
As Hayden Hillier-Smith says time and time again, story is king, and you can't underestimate that.
Nice isn't gonna get someone to sit and watch the whole video. You can just look at a picture. Like that.
Ellie, I saw that you do some radio hosting in your sort of local radio. Are there any sort of transferable skills that you've learned doing radio that have you've carried over to YouTube that have improved your own videos?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is sometimes I struggle with the number of takes I'm doing. Like, I think of good ideas in my head, but then I don't always explain them well. So I think one of the things radio really helped was like it being live. You have to get it doesn't have to be perfect, but you have to try and be as best as you can just in the moment. There's no editing, you can't change it. So I think it's definitely helped with I feel like sometimes, I am a bit of a perfectionist, so it's taught me to kind of just take a few takes, pick one of them, don't stress it. Because I used to film like a whole video and then not like it and just refilm the whole video again. And it wouldn't really turn out much different. So I think it's the biggest thing that like radio's taught me, just one takes kind of thing.
And John, is there any part of your background that particularly carries well over to YouTube? I mean, you mentioned the film side of things, but
yeah, so I used to be a professional gamer, and I used to stream on Twitch, and I'm still a Twitch partner, even though I don't stream on there, but I have the badge still, so I feel cool.
That's nice.
It's kind of similar to radio, I'd say, where you're just live. I'm comfortable in kind of like a live setting where I'm just kind of iterating and just talking as things go, and channeling that and limiting my takes to maybe like 2 or 3 takes at the most, and just going with it. Because as you were saying, it was like the video is basically the same thing, and maybe your little tonality is a little different or something like that, but you're just spending all this time when you could just be making another video. And if you're limiting it to those little takes, then you're training yourself that I have to get it right in these takes. I have to get it right in just 1 or 2. I have to get it right live. And you're like, what you're doing is like building this amazing muscle that you can just take with you, and you're able to just kind of just go with it and kind of letting go of that perfection, I think too, is a little more of a mentality thing, and it's just going to help you make really awesome videos. So yeah, just going with it. And another thing too I learned from Twitch is just how to deal with like haters and all of that kind of like that validation and stuff, because like I'm in the gaming scene and people are brutal in that, and like we would just trash talk each other, people will come in and trash talk me and all that, and just being like, I'm very numb to that because I'm very much like grown up in like a computer chair. So that has definitely helped a lot, kind of going into my channel, and when people comment and stuff like that, like just knowing how to deal with them and all of that, I think will help me if I get any traction. Like someone gained some notoriety a little bit back in the day, so maybe it would be familiar territory. I don't know yet.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we could talk about this all day, but I mean, we've already been going for an hour or so. So I think we can wrap things up. I've got one final sort of fun thing to do with Ellie here. I've got a list of some of your best quotes from your videos, of which there are many. So if you had sort of an imaginary tier list, just to rank, how good these quotes are in terms of, how memorable and just, how good they are as quotes. I'd like to hear your opinion on these. So we've got the first one is, I've got salmonella in my eye.
I'd probably give that one a 7.
Okay. How about how about suck on that, Mr. Finger Licking Good?
I'll put that to a 9. And that's the Eric one, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be a 9 then, just for the sake of the course.
That's solid. We've got, I'm sorry, Aquaman, I ate your children.
What video is that from? I can't even tell you what video that's from.
That was where you were eating the sushi, breaking your, I think it might have been the Eric one as well.
I'll give that a 5. I feel like that could have been better.
Okay. We've got, after you were dancing, we've got, are you trying to scoop some ice cream or something?
I feel like I could have made a better joke there. I think I'll give that a 4.
Same scene, you've got, ooh, I grew a tentacle.
I give that one a 6. That was okay.
Okay, and finally we've got, I think same video again, we've got, I'm about to go beat up my mum.
I give that a 10. I give that a 10 out of 10.
Solid.
I love that. That was a great little game.
That was a great video.
Awesome.
Well, I think that's about all I've got. Have you got any questions for me before we wrap things up?
Who's your favorite YouTuber? If you had to just pick one, who you putting at the top spot?
Well, I think Max Fosh is certainly up there. As is, Eric, without saying. Daniel Thrasher, he's a good one. He does some really funny sketch comedy. But yeah, if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Max Fosh, because I mean, me and Max Fosh, we've chatted in the past a little bit, and I made a crossword video sort of parodying his crossword series that he does, and he responded to that, and he actually featured in the video. He sent like a message at the end, so that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd like to do more of those crossword videos in future, because he was like, yeah, I'll send more over, because I'll watch them, and I'd love to see him, because it's such a great concept.
He said, just send them out.
And he shouted me out on his Instagram story at like 70,000 followers. I was like, ka-ching.
Yeah.
About 100 subscribers from
just
that.
Make that.
I think
that's awesome.
Maybe after 2 or 3, you might get okay. This is a bit of much now. But yes, when things open up again, definitely I'll do another one of those.
What would you say is one thing that is the biggest thing you've learned from the program that's sticking with you?
From Creator Now, well, I mentioned the thumbnails, which took me by surprise by how useful it was to sort of analyze other people's thumbnails as well as get feedback on my own. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that the workshops have just been really fantastic. I need to catch up on Zach's, actually. I'll do that afterwards. But yeah, I think those have been just invaluable. And you can't get that advice anywhere else. And the fact that they're long form, as you were saying, that the podcasts are really useful. But they're videos that people wouldn't put up on their channels because they're too long for the general YouTube audience. But to have that sort of really in-depth, step-by-step process for like an hour or 2 hour long workshop is just, you're just soaking in all this hugely useful information. But yeah, I think that about wraps things up. Thank you both very much for your time. I very much appreciate you being willing to come on this podcast. And I wish you all the best with your YouTube endeavors for the rest of the course and beyond.
Thank you. And you too.
Thank you. Yeah, you too.
I'll link both of their channels in the description. So make sure to check Ellie and John out. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to be on the podcast yourself, there is a link in the description as well for a little form. And I'll see you next week.